Warren Moon threw as pretty a deep ball as anybody I've ever seen. Jeff George was another one who threw a great deep ball. Warren's were usually caught, though, as opposed to Jeff George's. And the Hall of Famer joining us on the program. Good morning, Warren. How are you?
That's not fair, Dan. Jeff George did have a talented arm, though, man. He could throw it from every angle, from every platform. I love watching him throw the football.
Most physically talented quarterback you've ever seen?
Wow. You got to go by eras. Like John Elway was pretty physically talented during the time that I played. You look now at Patrick Mahomes. I mean, as physically talented as he is. Also, Aaron Rodgers. Uh, there's been a lot of them. So I don't know. It's hard to say one, but those guys that I just named are pretty much in that same class where they can throw the ball from any angle, any platform. Feet don't have to be together. One of them threw the ball with his left hand in a game and completed one. So that tells you how talented those guys are.
How helpless is that feeling when you're on the sidelines and you're watching a quarterback lead that 2-minute drill and there's nothing you can do?
Believe me, I've been there because I remember in Denver, we gave the ball back to John Elway with 1:48 left on his own 5-yard line. And I'm sitting on the sidelines hoping our defense can get him stopped so we can win this playoff game. And he takes him down, converts 2 fourth down situations, and ends up going down and getting the final score to beat us. So there was nothing I could do over on that sideline, as you said, because my job, if anything, I could have got one more first down and hopefully ran the clock out, but that didn't happen. So there's nothing you can do if you don't play defense.
When you came out of Washington and you had an unbelievable Rose Bowl performance, but why were you told you weren't drafted?
A lot of different reasons. It had nothing to do with the real reason, I think. They said I didn't come out of a pro style offense. They said that a lot of teams who never even came out to look at me thought I wasn't tall enough. I wasn't big enough. I'm the same height as I am right now. I was probably 205 pounds at the time, which I think was pretty big enough to play quarterback. And just a lot of different reasons it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But the biggest thing I think was they said that I didn't come out of a pro style offense, and we didn't run a pro style offense, but that didn't mean that I couldn't navigate into a pro style offense if that's what I was asked to do. I ran the offenses that I was asked to run, and that's what good quarterbacks can do. They can make adjustments to different types of styles if they have the ability that they need to play the position.
And playing the position for as long as you did, there were code words that you would hear that would mean something. It would mean more to you than it would me.
Right.
Because they're saying, well, you didn't run a pro style offense. Not that you couldn't adapt to run a pro style offense, but all of a sudden we've labeled you. No, Cam Newton didn't run a pro style offense.
No,
But
lots of guys didn't run pro style offenses, but there's guys that ran option offenses in college, but they still they still got a chance to play in the NFL and at least show what they could do. So I wasn't taking that. And even Doug Williams, who ran a pro style offense at Grambling the year that I came out, he was a first round draft pick, but he went to Tampa Bay, which was John McKay at the time, and John McKay had African American quarterbacks a bunch at USC, so he was used to having an African American quarterback. But if Doug wouldn't have went at 13, which was the 13th pick, he should have went before that, but he went to 13. If he doesn't go to Tampa Bay at 13, he might not have went in the first round either. So that's just the time that we lived in. There was a mentality and a stigma about African American quarterbacks, and I knew it was going to be difficult for me to play that position when I chose to do it. So it didn't surprise me when things got a little more difficult as I got into college.
you hear this conversation now where people are saying, hey, maybe it's time to give Colin Kaepernick a chance. I just wonder, is it a legitimate chance for he's going to want to start? I think everything he's gone through, you don't want to go back into the NFL and say, okay, hey, we gave you your job. Now go away. You should be happy. He's a competitor like anybody is. He wants to start. But do you think Kaepernick, why now is somebody going to give him a chance when he hasn't played in 4 years, that now we give him a chance? And how do you think he would accept that opportunity?
Yeah, I think the only way he should be given a chance is if he can go through a workout for a team and pass their workout, because he, like you said, he hasn't played in 3 or 4 years. A lot has changed in the game, the way the game is being played right now. And you want to find out from him. You want to sit down with him and find out where his mindset is, because as a quarterback in the NFL, you have to be kind of all in, especially if you're trying to get a job and trying to recreate yourself in the league. It's not like he's an established guy and he can maybe start doing some things off the field. He's trying to get back into it, so he's got to really be focused and all in on this, because more so than any other position in sports, quarterback, you better be all in, or it's not going to work well for you. So uh, that would be my biggest question to him. Does he really want to play football? And then can he pass the workout of what a team would put him through? And then is he going to be focused enough to get up to speed to learn a team system? Because Cam Newton is sitting out there right now, and he's not a starter. Jameis Winston is a backup somewhere. This guy hasn't played in 4 years, so if he expects to come in and be a starter, that's not going to happen. He's going to have to work his way back in, like some of the other guys who have been playing each and every week.
I was reading a column by Charles Robinson on Yahoo saying Roger Goodell has a small window to save his legacy and have a team sign Colin Kaepernick. How does the commissioner convince a team to sign Colin Kaepernick? I don't understand this.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen either. He has a lot of power, but I don't think he has that type of power, because, again, he works for the owners, and the owners kind of make the decisions on how they want to do things. And there's got to be an owner out there that's willing to take that opportunity to sign him. I know the Seahawks had him in here a number of years ago and sat him down, and I think they got a chance to learn who he was. They got a chance to see him physically, and they put him. That was kind of part of their scouting process. That if we needed a quarterback, we knew this is a guy that maybe we could go to. So they know who he is. They've sat down with him, and I think this would be a good fit for him if, again, he answers those other questions we talked about, whether he can pass the workout and whether he's really totally into playing football, because Pete Carroll is open-minded, a coach that there is in the league. And the same thing with the ownership up here. So I think it could work up here, but again, those other questions have to be answered.
He's Warren Moon, the CFL and NFL Hall of Famer. You're the only player in both CFL and NFL Hall of Fame. Is that right?
I am, and only one other coach. I think Bud Grant. Bud Grant is a coach in the Hall of Fame in Canada and also in the NFL too. So
What did
yeah,
you
we're the
get
only.
for going? You get a jacket for going into the CFL Hall of Fame?
I do. I got a jacket and a bust. Kind of the same thing. You can
Oh,
get a
nice.
ring.
Nice.
Yeah.
A
Pretty,
better looking
pretty,
jacket, Canton or the Hamilton Hall of
the,
Fame?
the jacket might look better in Canada because it's black.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to wear your Pro
The
Football
gold
Hall of Fame
jacket is
jacket.
Yeah, the gold jacket is cool. You love you that you have one in your closet, but it's not something you're gonna wear as swag every weekend.
Yeah, it's hard to have an outfit that goes along with that gold jacket there.
Exactly.
And then what's your number inside on your Pro Football Hall of Fame jacket?
I think I'm 283.
283. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was when Tony Dungy showed me that. That was really cool. When you see that number in there, that inside patch, it's pretty cool.
you know exactly where you stand in the history of the game.
Your salary first year in the CFL was what? 1978?
I got 35,000 to sign,
Wow.
and my first year's salary was 45,000,
Wow.
and that was considered like a equivalent to a second round contract in the NFL.
Well, you had to, that money would go a long way in Edmonton.
It did pretty well, but I was living in Seattle at the time. But when I first came to the NFL, and I was like a true free agent and highest paid player in the league when I came into the league, I signed for 5 years for 5.5 million.
Wow. But
They've
did
changed a little. They've changed a little since then.
but didn't you have a contract that you were always going to be one of the I forget what it was, but didn't you get raises depending on other quarterbacks getting raises? Did your agent negotiate that where you were always going to be in the top 5 in salary?
Yeah, my second contract was like that. Yeah, it was called adjustable years. So when
Nice.
nobody could ever be paid more than myself. So, and I imagine something like that would happen to today. You look at like a Dak Prescott who's worried about his contract, or Patrick Mahomes, who probably is going to be one of the top quarterbacks from here going forward. You would think they'd want to have something like that in their deal if it's allowed. Some of those things aren't allowed anymore, but if that was allowed.
Do you know if this is true that the story is LeBron James met his agent Rich Paul because Rich was wearing a Warren Moon jersey, and Rich was walking through an airport. LeBron stopped him and asked him where he got the jersey. Did you ever hear
I
that?
heard that story. Yeah, I heard that story. And the next time I ever see LeBron, I'm going to mention that to him and see if it's really true.
Why'd you pick one?
It was a number to me that was different. It was, in my mind, the number one is something I always strived for, to be the best. And then I also felt like as my teammates looked at me as the leader on a team, that number one is going to always remind them is that's what we want to be as a team as well. So it had significance as far as where I wanted to finish personally and where our team should want to finish as a team.
Were you there when Mike Renfro, the game against the Steelers? When
I was not there yet. No, that was
Okay.
a couple of years before I got there.
Yeah, because Houston had some tough losses, and that Renfro catch they said wasn't a catch.
That was against Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that game up in Canada. I think I was up there at the time because Earl Campbell and I came out the same year, and he went to Houston as their number one overall pick. But I went to Canada, so I watched a lot of Houston Oilers games on television.
Man, Earl was something different though. But
Wasn't he?
that style though. I mean, we see Derrick Henry now, but Earl took on everybody.
Yeah, and everybody in the stadium knew he was getting the ball pretty much every play, and he still couldn't be stopped. And when I got to Houston, it was about his sixth year. He was a little bit banged up by then, and he ended up getting traded the next year to New Orleans with Bum Phillips because he went to New Orleans. But I saw glimpses of who Earl still was during that 1 year that I played with him, 1.5 years, excuse me.
And it's still one of those highlights. Doesn't he hit Isaiah Robertson of the Rams right in the sternum? And
runs right through him and almost steps on him and goes on into the end zone. Ends up with no pads on at the same time.
Well, he had that tearaway jersey.
He had more jerseys ripped off of him than any other player in the league.
It's good to talk to you, Warren. I hope you're doing well. We appreciate your perspective on all of this, and thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great, and I'm glad you're doing as well, and look forward to talking to you down the road.
Thank you, Warren. That's Warren Moon. 5 Grey Cups for him, and Pro Football and the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame there.